Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video I'll be showing you guys how to cut a shirt. Before we go into the video, I would like to thank the viewers, my subscribers, and if you are tuning in for the first time, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on your notification. And also don't forget to give this video a huge thumbs up, and if you have any question, please feel free to drop your comment on the comment section. Okay, this is the front of the fabrics. This is how the front of the fabrics look like. So we'll be marking from the back of the fabrics. You bring the fabrics together like this. As you can see, that place is open. So when you bring the fabrics together, you iron. You iron before you mark. I always iron before I mark. This is very important. You iron your fabrics properly before you start your marking. Then from here, you notice this place, they are not equal, so I had to make it equal. Means I have to trim it a little from there. You trim. Once you are done, you fold by 2 inches. You have to make sure it's up to 2 inches when you fold. You mark. First of all, I have to trim out this. I have to trim it out, the whitish stone. So once you are done, you fold by 2 inches, like I said earlier. Make sure it's up to 2 inches. You can also fold by 1.5, but I always fold by 2 inches. There's no specific reason for it. I use my tape to check if it's up to 2 inches. Then you use your iron to press it. This will help the fabrics relax very well. Before you go into the actual marking. So the length of the cloth is 30 plus 1 inch allowance. You mark, break it in, do the same. Do the same all through. Although I've not started the main marking, I just want to cut out what I want. The breast point, for the breast point is 40, which is the biggest part of the body because the tummy is 36. Since the breast point is 40, for the waistline, instead of adding 1 inch allowance to it, because the 40 you have to divide it by 4. When you divide it by 4, you will have 10. You add your 1 inch allowance. So, but for the waistline, instead of adding just 1 inch allowance, you add 1.5. So I will cut this at 12 or so, because I need a little allowance for it. I'll mark it all through. Mark it all to then cut it out. Alright, so this is what we have. So since we already have the length of the fabric, the next thing is the shoulder. Next thing is the shoulder measurement. The shoulder is 16 divided by 2. We have 8 plus 1 inch allowance. So we have 9. Then from this point, you drop it down. From that place you got your shoulder, you drop it by 2 inches. You mark. Then from that point, you get your armhole measurements. Then from your armhole measurement, you get your nipple point, which is 40 divided by 4. We have 10 plus 1 inch allowance. We have 11. Then from the edge to get your tummy is always between 15, 16, 17, depending on the height of the person. So I'll mark at 15.5. The tummy is 36 divided by 2. We have 9. Mark, add your 1 inch allowance. Then from the tummy to get the waistline, you mark from the tummy, you mark 6. The waistline is always bigger. The reason is because to avoid tightness, it has to be free so it won't be tight on you from the waistline. So since the chest is the or the nipple point is the biggest part of the body, we add 1.5 to it. So from down here you mark 2 or 2.5 depending on how you want the curve to be. Then from this point, that's where you start marking for the waistline. So we mark at 11.5. The same thing here, 11.5. When you stop at that point where you got the waistline, so the next thing here is the neck. You drop it down by, you go in by 1.5 by 2 inches, 1.5 by 2 inches. And from the neck, you mark down to that point where you dropped it by 2 inches. You connect the shoulder, you connect it to the neck. I'm trying to draw my lines here before I do my cutting. So this is for the front pattern. This is for the front pattern. Then for the back pattern, you have to make sure the back pattern is closed instead of open. As you can see, so this is the back pattern. Let me trim this one out. So here you have to place the front pattern on it. Be sure that what you have can contain the front pattern. You iron. Iron will make your work look good and neat. You place the front pattern on it. Then you bring out 1 inch from the front facing. You use your tape to measure to see if it's up to 1 inch. What you brought out, if what you brought out is up to 1 inch, so you mark 2.5 or 2 3/4. But since it's a female wear, 2.5 is okay. 2.5. Cutting it out. So you fold it to overlap on the front facing by 1/2 inch, and use your iron to relax it. You press it before you do your choking. Then you take the actual shoulder measurement again. You have 16. Instead of adding 1 inch, you make it 3/4. Mark at 3/4. Then we cut the armhole. Then you notch, following the front pattern circumference. Notch it to that point. So this is it. This is how the shirt looks like. So I'll have to mark the depth of the armhole for the sleeve. For the sleeve, this is already folded into 2. Already folded into 2. But I want to cut the both sleeve together, so I have to fold it into 4. So I fold it again, it's into 4 like this. So when we measure the circumference of the depth of the armhole, we got 11.5. But we won't just mark at 11.5. You have to add it something like 1 inch or 1/2 inch, just in case. So you You use your tape to check if what you folded is enough to contain the depth of the armhole before you iron. So you mark 5 inch from here. The same thing. Mark 5 inch from here. The chalk. Draw your lines. Since the sleeve is 8, I'll be adding 8.5. Sorry, I'll be adding it 2.5. To make it 10.5. Half inch, we have to join the sleeve to the shoulder. You use half inch to join it. Then the remaining 2 inches is for the folding. So you mark at 8.5. So you mark at 12. Then you fold. Use your iron. Press. Then you take the round sleeve measurement. You have 6 plus 1 inch allowance. That is 7. You cut. The notch. So this is how it looks like. Thank you for watching. See you in our next video.